Welcome.
Welcome. We were just sitting here getting really hyped up and prepared for the clock to reach 15 at 3 p.m. And
Apparently we are early.
a little bit early, but we'll just start anyway.
Yeah, let's get it rolling.
Welcome everyone to our 5-year anniversary stream. We've done this, five years in a row. We have anniversary streams each year, right?
We actually have.
Yes. So this is Mikkel, game director and co-founder of Ghost Ship Games.
Thank you. And this is Søren Lundgaard, and he is CEO of Ghost Ship Games and also one of the co-founders.
Yeah, one of the 6 co-founders. And we're happy to be here today to present to you an awesome and action-packed anniversary stream with lots of the different announcements and going back and forth through history. We'll start out with 5 years in orbit. We'll go through the past, present, and future of Deep Rock Galactic. And then we'll continue with
Ghost Ship Publishing, which is one of our new adventures, where we will talk a little bit about Ghost Ship Publishing, and then we will present the first 3 games that we will be publishing.
That will be followed by the amazing Hiring for Hoxes competition, where we've received hundreds of entries for this competition. Looked through the videos and we've selected the top contenders.
And it was tough.
It was really tough. The finalists will be revealed in that hour, including, of course, the winner and celebrations.
Yeah. And that will happen. That will be by Mark and Mike.
Yes. And then after that, we'll have stream shenanigans with Jacob, our community manager, and the crew. Showcasing both the legacy builds that we'll talk about later and a bit about the anniversary, and other fun stuff.
Yeah. But
let's
5 years.
Yeah, 5 years.
It's been a long journey,
yes.
And a lot of things have happened. A lot of rocket stoning.
We prepared some images and slides for you. So. Let's just get started on that. So welcome to the 5-year anniversary stream, all of you. I hope you sit comfortable because we'll be sitting here for a while.
Yeah, we've got a lot to cover.
Yes. And we'll start by, as I said, go through the history. If you take the next slide, Jacob. So it's been 5 years ago that we launched Deep Rock Galactic, but actually, this journey for us started 7 years ago, right?
It did.
Yes. So 7 years ago, if you take the next slide, we looked like this, us and the 4 other founders of Ghost Ship Games, looking a little bit scared maybe about the journey that we were going on to.
Not knowing anything about the journey we were going on to, basically.
No, just on a hope and a prayer and the idea of Deep Rock Galactic, and we had a equally small office. Just take the next one. It looks big, larger than it is here on the
wide angle.
Yeah, that you used to take this. But that's how it started in a cave, you can say.
Very appropriate.
Yeah. And then shortly after that, we moved to a slightly bigger office and we started hiring people. Just take the next slide. Thank you. And we stayed there for a while, and actually that was where we developed most of the early access build of the game.
It was also the office we had when we partnered up with Coffee Stain.
Yeah. And then we'll speed forward to actually us today, 5 years ago, where we launched the game. If you take the next slide, you can see on the left, this is the button I had to click, and I was a bit like, what will happen
to launch the game?
I do not regret clicking that button.
No.
But it did have a little mishap actually. When I clicked it, we were all ready to celebrate, and then it turned out I needed to do some more stuff, and it was
ready with champagne and everything, and it's like, wait a minute.
Take a new video of that, and then we have cake, of course. And go back a bit. Not because we had the first cake, as you can see in this picture, is on the launch day, where we still didn't know if this would be a success, but we would, of course, we wanted
cake
to celebrate that we actually launched the game into early access, and I would say pretty quickly on that day we knew something magical was happening. Like a lot of you, hopefully some of you out there were already back then buying the game and playing the game, and giving us feedback, giving us really good Steam reviews.
Yeah.
That was.
And I think we were, I don't know, surprised, but we were really, really happy that it actually went well, because we know that it's tough launching into Steam Early Access and Steam, and it can go wrong, and there can be anything.
Seeing the first reviews, seeing the players, you play the game, that was a huge relief, and well, actually, I'll get a bit ahead of ourselves, but we will talk a bit about more the legacy build, right?
Yeah.
And that's the build that we released that day.
Yeah.
Maybe a few days after, but
Close enough. Yeah.
That's going to be available for all of you to enjoy tomorrow. And I think when you look at that build, the version of the game back then, it's pretty bare bone.
I mean, it's a testament to how far we have actually gotten with Deep Rock.
And maybe even slimmer and smaller in content that you could get away with today, 5 years later. Industry is evolving, early access is evolving,
but still has a lot of the same core mechanics and so on. So
all of that is there, and the whole feel is there.
Yeah.
But now we talked about the cake, and you saw a bit of the next slide. So can you go to that one, Jacob? Because then we had cake again, not too long after. It's a 500,000 milestone.
And that was crazy, because we did some guesstimates in the beginning before we launched how it would go, and we said, like, if we're doing 50,000 copies or selling 50,000 copies, it will be okay. We'll be happy with that. Yeah. And we had our high estimate would be 200,000 copies lifetime.
Yeah, and obviously this is a big more than that, and this is even 10 months after we launched. And I remember also talking to Anton, the CEO of Coffee Stain. So already back then, of course, we had Coffee Stain Publishing as our publisher. And Anton told me that based on the first week of sales, that you will reach 400,000. And I looked at him and
he's crazy.
He's crazy. Why is that gonna happen? But then of course we learned the power of Steam, and we reached 500,000. So even his estimate was too low. Yeah, so we of course developed the game. We developed updates, and if you take the next slide, Jacob, this update with the end game. Maybe you can tell a bit about that, Mikkel.
Yeah, so this is update 25. You can see this behind our video feed. But when we started developing Deep Rock Galactic, we were looking at Left 4 Dead. And Left 4 Dead doesn't have any progression or anything. It just has a really good game, right? A fun game to play. And we thought that we could just do the same with Deep Rock Galactic. But as time went by, we could see that a lot of the feedback we got from you guys was that you actually wanted more progression, wanted something to work towards. And that made us come up with a design for an end game.
Yeah.
And that was the introduction of deep dives, machine events, overclocks for guns, and so on.
And the promotions.
And the promotions,
that whole loop that we layered on top of the game, right? And before this update, we of course, updates have been well received, and we could see things happening in the game. But this update, that really changed the metrics. If we look at take the next slide, there's a graph, which is a graph we look a lot at on these basically the daily active users, or same graph as if you take the peak concurrent users on Steam. And this shows to us that the game is growing. It's growing in popularity. It's growing in also that you play it more. You have some peaks here, some really extreme peaks, and those are from the free weekends. And that also was a bit daring initially. I can remember we didn't want to. Can we give this out in a free weekend? Will people just burn out on it? But it worked really, really well with the free weekends as well.
Especially after we also introduced the whole end game.
Yeah, because there was something. There was something to look forward to. You could feel that, but by playing in the weekend, you got a taste of the game, but you could see, okay, there's a lot more here to look forward to. And as you can see on this graph, it's heading upwards, which is the nicest graphs when they do that. So we took this learning from this update and said, okay, let's do more of these types of updates where we really pour in a lot of content and listen to you for what should go in. Then we're moving on to the 1.0 of the game. Take the next slide. And this, of course, was a celebration, but also a bit annoying because it happened during Corona.
Yeah. So we were not actually it was actually a bit challenging, not just annoying, I think, because everyone was in isolation and pulling everything together just up to launch, getting the whole PR marketing ready, getting the game ready, getting it all wrapped and as bug-free as possible, and not being together. That was challenging.
That was challenging, and of course we debated if we should do it or not, but we ended up like everything was planned for it, and was easy enough to execute, you can say. But
I think we were lucky enough that we had already set on this path towards launch, so we had everything in motion. We just had to finish it all.
But we couldn't really be together to celebrate properly, though we did disobey and bend the rules a bit and gathered a few in the office to celebrate. But we also didn't get to do a proper release party because of this, and we haven't still done that, which is
that's a shame.
Which is sad. All right, so moving on. If you take the next slide. Many updates later, we decided to kind of reinvent the way we're doing updates, you could say, because we're coming to update 35 and who's starting to become a little bit like.
And I think personally, I think actually it was me who started this because I felt that there was two things. First, update 36. It's a bit unsexy because it's just a number growing, and so that was one thing. The other thing was that we could see that when we were releasing an update, there would be, I don't know, a new biome, a new mission, some new content. And you guys who were sinking so much time into the game would burn through that content really fast. And it was not really like, there was not enough for you to actually work towards after it came out. And then we started toying with this idea, could we do a season pass,
battle pass, and of course we need to figure out how does that fit into the whole Deep Rock Galactic and Ghost Ship way of thinking. And we ended up with the solution that you now know, where we give it away for free and have removed all the FOMO stuff that is usually out there, and the reception on this has been enormous.
And I think we're looking at the graph, right? I mean, we took another jump with the introduction. You can
see that in the lower right corner there. That's when we released season 1 and how we exceeded even our early free weekends, and how it also ends up on a higher lower level, so to speak.
Oh, actually, another thing that we get with the season pass, introduction of seasons, was that when we were doing new content before we started seasons, we were basically doing a lot of content that was for long-time players. And with the introduction of seasons, if you buy the game and you jump into the game, you are actually getting a lot of this content as well.
Yeah, because you can engage with the performance pass right from the get-go, right?
And the other thing is that the whole idea about releasing a season instead of an update, it also gives us sort of like a framework for what is the bare minimum an update to Deep Rock Galactic can be. So it also helps us shaping the next.
So our biggest challenge was probably that we spent quite a lot of time on this one. So we found out later that we set the bar maybe a little bit too high in what type of amount of content we could do for a season. But that's how it is. Then we finally got out on PlayStation, and we have worked towards this for quite some time. And we made alongside the Coffee Stain a deal with Sony to go into PlayStation Plus, giving basically the game away for free to millions and millions of players, and it was a crazy January month to see all the attention,
all the new Deep Rock Galactic players coming in and getting the Deep Rock experience.
And for me, I had a thing that I thought that the whole thing about our really nice community was also part of how the communication between us and you and all that. But actually, it turned out that all the players in isolated on PlayStation behaved equally nice. Mm-hmm. And the conclusion was it's simply the game design and the game itself that fosters this really friendliness between all of us.
I mean, you can say, obviously, in the very beginning where we had the core idea for the game, the whole idea about creating a game that will, generate camaraderie between the players was something that we tried to do. But we, of course, hadn't imagined that all the little things would come together and be as strong as it is in Deep Rock Galactic.
We did also, I remember, say to ourselves, we wanted to create the best co-op game ever, right? and
I think that's for you to judge if we have succeeded
we will not
on
say
that.
that, but of course, we're getting there. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
We're still on journey,
Yeah.
but it's getting closer. Then we tried something quite different. We teamed up with some old colleagues and friends of us from Mood, a visual concept art house here in studio here in Copenhagen. They came to us with this idea: shouldn't we make a board game on Deep Rock? And you and I, Mikkel, we've been talking about this from the beginning as well, right?
Yes, indeed. I mean, we also like board games, so
Yes.
it would be like it was just a fun thing.
We thought it was a little bit like that was a side project, or that was just a fun idea. But then they came with this: let's do it. And they also brought in another friend of ours, Ole Steines, who's a professional board game designer here from Denmark. And then suddenly there was a dream team, and we said yes, let's do it. And the board game was
we did a Kickstarter.
Yes, set up for Kickstarter, and we with this Kickstarter we later on learned that this is actually the most successful Kickstarter in the Nordics of all types of Kickstarter, not just board games, which is kind of crazy to think about.
That is crazy, and I think, I mean, obviously, Søren and I have been a bit involved in the board game, making sure that the mechanics from Deep Rock Galactic, the computer game, was translated right, and that we kept the spirit of Deep Rock Galactic in the board game as well. And yeah, this is the massive box.
We've got to say, of course, we're sad that not all of you have yet gotten the box. Neither has this company actually in general. We have not received it either. This is one of just the first early one that was flown up here. Logistics on this is I'm glad we're dealing with digital games and not physical games in general.
That's way easier.
But the board game itself turned out really great. We designed it towards being for you, for the fans first of all, and then secondary as a innovative board game or anything. There was more like, let's get this just to work. Let's make sure that it brings in the theme and all that you know and love for Deep Rock. And judging on the reviews that we see, we seem to have hit that pretty well. Then we turned back to the game, and season 2 came out, and it was kind of an extra take on the whole rival.
Well, you make it sound like we were not working on this while we were doing board game.
Of course we were.
I mean, it was just me and Søren who were participating in some game tests, and that was it.
The rest of the company was
pretty busy.
Was working on season 2. Yeah. As you can see on the graph, it didn't do just as well as season 1. It was still, like, compared to everything else, a good success. But we did discuss some things about what could we do better for the next season. And then we came out with Plaguefall,
which was season 3.
Yes.
And of course we had changed the theme. Went away from the robots, and
we also managed to hit a lot of different marketing beats and make sure that everybody was aware that this was happening and build up hype. And as you can see on the graph, that just smashed all our previous records once again. Actually, the Plaguefall release was bigger than our 1.0 release, which is
just kind of crazy to think about.
And has again, as you can see on the graph, just built on the whole success and popularity of Deep Rock Galactic, and propelled it now into safely being in a top 100 of the most played games on Steam.
But again, I mean, I think this is also just showing, I mean, we are trying to sort of learn from our successes and failures, and constantly trying to improve what we do with Deep Rock Galactic, basically.
So take the next slide. This is who we are, not exactly today, but 9 months ago, I think. We took this picture out in the courtyard here of the lovely office in Copenhagen where we work. And we are a bit over 30 souls now in the skeleton crew here at Ghost Ship Games, and we will keep growing slowly. We do not believe in growing fast, because then we will lose the control of the culture that we have. But slowly we'll keep growing to keep up with the success that you are bringing us. But speaking of you, if you take the next slide, this could of course not have been done without you, the community. This picture here is from the very first time where we really met our future fans. We were in Boston.
PAX Boston.
Yeah, PAX East.
That was 2018.
17.
17.
Yeah, March 2017.
Ah.
The game was not out in early access yet, but along with Coffee Stain, we built this amazing tower where you could play 4 players with each other, and it was just really cool to start meeting future fans that came about and say, "Hey, are they all dwarves?" And they were like, "I must play this." And I had actually been doubting making a game only with dwarves, and I kept saying to Mikkel, "We need some humans or elves or something else in this." And after this, I was like, "Okay, I shut up. We only need dwarves. Dwarves are the only."
And I think this is one of the things where, I mean, we're maybe not a game for everyone, but we've just been trying to find our own niche.
Yeah.
And I think that like just focusing on dwarves basically has just helped us finding our niche. Yeah.
And then when we continued from this, building up a community, we of course we started on this really wanted to go into open development and build a community, but we actually didn't really know much about what that meant. So
I mean, this is our first company, right? So we've basically been learning everything as we just been going, as I said before.
And initially and still a lot of it is of course help to point out bugs and test the game, and we have so closer groups of you that helps us really test the more like deep stuff, the deep systems that requires a lot of insight into the game. Many of you are also helping out on translating the game, which as a story I tell again and again because it just amazes me how that just broadens the audience for this game, and it's in 25 languages I think now, which is
crazy. But I think another thing that I think is super important to us is that, I mean, the community is also super active, talking about features in the game and so on, and that it both motivates us to always do the best we can with the game, and sometimes we do something that is wrong, and then we clearly see that you are not happy, and we try to fix it as good
Beers
as
for Drinks incident where we accidentally ended up calling beers for drinks, and you were not pleased. And
there was also the whole thing with use.
Or the apocalypse.
The apocalypse,
that was not so good either. But all this that you contribute with wikis and translations, bug finding and testing, of course we just want to
memes and just having
thanks from our bottom of our heart. Of course, there's also the Rock and Stone, right? We need to talk about that. So take the next slide. So, as you may have seen specifically on Reddit, it's kind of taking over. It's just spreading out to all these places. The Rock and Stone bot is the 10th most popular bot or active bot on Reddit, and our Reddit subreddit is also like keep growing.
I think the magic of when I saw people just typing V.
yeah.
That I think was so meta and so cool.
That's all you need to know.
That we own the V button on the keyboard.
I cannot see the chat for the Twitch channel right now, but I can imagine how
give me a lot of V's. Awesome. This means Rock and Stone.
Awesome. So Rock and Stone is also something we talk about when we share this with other developers and say this thing about having a shared thing that your community where they can recognize each other in other environments. That's extremely strong, and not something we foresaw that would happen. But,
I did.
You did?
No, not how big it is now, but.
Oh, so that was cool. Then the latest discussion, heated discussions. We came up.
So we had
solutions to this.
So let me just. I mean, we had a bug in the game where when you were starting a promotion mission, promotion assignment, and you were quitting out after completing the first mission in the assignment, then the weekly core hunt would reset and you can go in and play that. Go back, play one mission of the promotion, and then you could repeat and then milking the system. Yeah. Obviously, this was a bug, and it was a bug that we wanted to fix. We didn't consider it super critical, but then we fixed it, and then we could see that it. Some of you felt it was super critical. Not to fix it, but but obviously it's a bug, and we don't like bugs like that.
No.
We have many bugs, and we also have a lot of bugs in the game that we're just gonna leave there because they're fun bugs. Sometimes they're also good for gameplay, so then we also leave them. But this one we wanted to fix. But we have seen all the discussions going on, and we wanted to address this. Obviously, we also talked a lot about this internally in the office. What do we do here? And the solution, or one of the solutions that we're doing, is what you see here. And the idea is that when you promote a dwarf, after the first promotion with each of the dwarfs, after that you will be getting a blank matrix core, infused overclock core, and an infused cosmetic core.
Yep.
So that will give you a little bit more of that, you can say, extra cores than compared to what you got before.
Yeah. And then, as also always, we'll release this. We'll see.
And I can say, I mean, we're working on this. We have it working. We hoped to have it ready for the anniversary. I don't think we're gonna be completely ready with it, but it will come in some of the patches afterwards.
Yeah.
In the coming days, hopefully.
Yes. So this this moves us to the anniversary.
Yes.
That's going to happen. The anniversary event, which
it's going live tomorrow, right?
Yeah. So we've had anniversary events before, but I think I can safely say that this one is a bit more extravagant than
that's so. If we start with the space rig, right? I think we have been slide, please. No, this is our key art.
So take this one. Yeah.
So the space rig. Well, we've gone a little bit overboard by dressing it up. I don't know. This looks like I don't know. I got like an Overlook Hotel vibe.
Yeah.
The Shining or something like that. But we've been doing that. And then are there more images?
Yeah, there's one more, even more extravagant.
And
maybe.
you can see it. So you look forward to this tomorrow when we go live with this. I think maybe we are showcasing some of this later when we come to the streaming shenanigans.
We might be.
So then you can see some of it.
Maybe not. I'm getting mixed signals from
all right. Yes, but of course there will be the usual, the dressing of the space rig. There will be a double XP event again. We have
a freighter that landed.
That lost some cargo, and now you have, and this time it's 5-year trophies that you need to recover from Hoxes. That will give you the double performance points. Then we are also doing something new, and that is introducing an alternative build, which is a legacy version of Deep Rock Galactic. And I got this idea. I'm an avid Magic the Gathering card game player.
I stopped.
You stopped, but I'm still hooked. And last year, I think they had their 30-year anniversary, and I saw that they were releasing one of the first series of the beta. No, not the first one. The beta, I think. I don't remember exactly what. But anyways, the set with Black Lotus in.
Yes.
Right. And they were releasing that, and as proxy cards, and I thought that was super cool, right? I mean, now we could go to a card event and we could all experience how it was playing Magic 30 years ago. It turned out it was nothing like that because they put a price point on it. On the booster packs that were insanely high.
Yeah, so nobody could really engage
nobody could really play with the cards. But anyways, the good thing that came out of that was that I got the idea, hey, what if you could play Deep Rock Galactic Year Zero? Like how it was just after we launched into Steam Early Access. And then we did some testing. I had Axel try to set up a build and see if we could actually make it work,
and play together,
and we could, and we went in and played it, and it was just crazy. It was mind blowing, I think. Not because it was better than today, but basically because you just have this historical, experience where you can walk around and you can see where the game is coming from.
Yeah,
and I think that was super cool. I hope you are gonna enjoy it as well. obviously we are not gonna bug fix on it, and we are not gonna support
Release
it in
the
any
next
way.
updates.
So you're on your own when you go in there. But I think if you're interested in seeing where Deep Rock Galactic is coming from, I mean, go in, grab some friends, go in, give it a test, and place a couple of missions, and then get back to Deep Rock Galactic as it is today, and be happy about all the improvements that we've made.
It's just a fun thing, and hopefully you will all have a bit of fun with that as well. And especially the people that, I mean, well, here from the beginning maybe, and like remembering back to where it was, but maybe also all your new greenbeards or greybeards that never saw this, and will see, oh, what?
Everything was not better back in the days.
Then we also did something else differently this time. We decided to create a new DLC supporter.
True DLC.
Yeah. So once again, just celebrate this whole 5 year of Deep Rock, and let you decorate yourself with super extravagant armor framework.
Basically,
and
after seeing the space rig, right, we needed a suit to actually be as extravagant as that.
Yeah. So this will be released tomorrow, and judging from the initial reception on this, it looks like you like what you see. Of course, it's not for everyone. It's for those who really want to just.
It's bigger than a normal cosmetic DLC. Yeah. It comes with more stuff. So in that regard, it's also
it does the same as the supporter one, with giving you a badge to show that you're a supporter of the game.
You're getting a beer and so a special beer and so on. Yeah.
And then lastly, we have moved on with a request, and this is not volume 3, but it is to get these volumes, volume 1 and 2, onto streaming services like Spotify.
At least Spotify, yeah.
At least Spotify.
Yeah. We had hoped to have it ready today or very soon, but we are still working on this. So we'll ping you when it's ready. On that note, I just want to make a shout out to Sofus Alf.
Oh yeah, the composer.
Airbag Larsen, who is the composer of the soundtracks, and he is on the 10th of March. He is releasing his first EP on Spotify with his new band called Sunraker. So
go check them out.
Go check Sunraker out on the 10th of March, or check them out now and wishlist them. They are both on Facebook and Spotify, and probably also other streaming. But go in and check them, follow them. Then he will be extremely happy.
Moving on to something you've also been waiting on is, of course, the roadmap for what is going to come.
So now we're going to look into the future.
Yes, but actually we'll start by looking into both a bit of the past and future. If you take the next slide, we've been giving all these holiday events a huge overhaul, which is also taking up some time, to be honest.
It has
a bit more time than we expected, which is also why this roadmap is quite delayed. And I think it kind of started with the Oktoberfest.
No, I actually think it started with summer.
With summer?
The summer party, where we actually started, like, I don't know, doing more stuff on the Space Week decorations.
True. Where you could
and we felt that it was kind of cool with these events, right? Where we lifted them a little bit. Before we did it, when we did the event, it was more like very subtle, putting up some few decoration pieces and so on. But now we have actually taken a lot of time to go.
And with the Oktoberfest, we did invent the double XP for the performance pass and finding stuff in the caves, and we took that even further in the Christmas event. With
the elf hunt. And we got more cool stuff for the events coming up later.
So we had Lunar, now we'll have anniversary event, and there will be more events that we have now prepared more in advance than we usually do. And that's, of course, has taken up quite a bit of time. But we do also have a roadmap to present, which includes a season 4.
Yeah, and we're not saying so much,
no,
so
sorry.
Don't get your hopes too high here. But of course, it will be a new season. with a new season pass and season events and everything like that.
Yeah.
I think we are writing there that it's not going to be robots. That's how far we're going when it comes to details
that's
about
the
it.
only promise.
Then we are also looking into doing new enemies and new enemies that will go into like the normal rotation of enemies.
Yeah.
And then of course we have a lot of other features that we are not ready to talk so much about.
We'll slowly leak them out as usual, and do some
But
videos.
it also says that we're excited about jetpacks.
It does.
It does, I think. So
Didn't we decide not to sell that?
I think
Jetpacks in the caves.
there's not going to be jetpacks, but
No,
let's see what it's going to be.
Get something. We are aiming, as it says, towards the end of second quarter. So that's that is as much as we can say right now. On season 4, there will be more to come on this the coming months. That's for sure.
Definitely.
Yes. That's actually all we had on the whole 5-year in orbit stuff. So we do have quite a bit of time for questions.
Take some questions. Yeah. So I don't know. Behind the scene here, we have Jacob and Mark sitting and controlling stuff. So maybe I don't know, guys. Could if there are any questions on the
I think they're desperately looking for questions through all the rock and stone stuff, right? It's hiding in there, but maybe people are popping in questions now that we decided to.
We got one earlier. How will you be able to play the legacy version? Like what?
All right. So the question is, how will we be able to play? Can they hear you, or should I repeat the question?
They can hear me. I think they can also hear you through my microphone. But hey.
All righty. So the way we have done it is that everyone will who just gets the update will automatically get the legacy version of the game, and then when you boot up the game, you get this pop-up where you can choose between DirectX something and save mode, and there will also be an option to launch Deep Rock Galactic Legacy.
But it does mean, because Steam, a little bit annoyingly, just decided to put this thing that you could make this go away. So you'll have to dig it out if you click that button to say, never show me this one again. Of course, it's not annoying because it's a really good feature from Steam, but annoying for our launcher of Legacy.
And this just came, I mean, while we were working on it, they just introduced that feature. So that was a bit of a surprise.
Yeah, but that's how you started.
I can say that the Legacy version of the game, we have not. I think we're saying that it's going to be available only for a limited time.
Yeah. Likely take it away again.
We haven't made final decisions on this, but it will at least be running during the anniversary and maybe also for longer.
Are there any new biomes in the pipeline?
New biomes in the pipeline. Yeah. I mean, it's there's always a lot of new stuff in the pipeline, but
I've seen concepts, but that's not the same as there are.
No,
like, that's part of the pipeline, but it's a very early part of the pipeline.
But just, I mean, we are not going to make that game where you're going to ask us about everything, and then we either say yes or no, and then at the end you can actually guess what what season 4 is. So, there was a long no comment.
Are GSG Publishing accepting pitches? Where to send them?
I think if you go into
GoShip.dk/publishing,
there will be a publishing there.
And then if you go right at the bottom, there is an email, and you can send stuff, and we are looking at it. We have been pretty busy preparing this, so there's already quite a bit of things in there. We are looking for some specific stuff, and that it already says that on the publishing page, and we'll go through that after 3 o'clock when we start that segment. But I can say one thing is that that does not say on the page is that we will need to see playable prototypes, and we will need to see a formed team, a team that exists.
And that can execute the game.
And that can execute the game.
Just sending us a game design or pitch is not enough.
It's not enough. No, so there'll need to be some meat on this and some reality in this for this to happen. Yeah.
So can I just jumping topic here?
Yeah.
Because we have had this amazing coil gun replica, and the story about this was that I think it's Zach Greer had made this and he did a video of it, and then Anders, one of the designers on Deep Rock, he wrote like, I want it, or want one.
Then he got one.
And then he actually, Zach Greer actually sent it over, and I mean, it's kind of amazing, right? I mean, if you look at it, it even works.
I mean, you can't shoot with it, I guess.
No, I think maybe it can interfere with our microphones. I don't know.
Yeah. It is dangerous.
But I mean, that was super cool, and we were all like crazy excited at the office when we got this. So thank you very much for that.
Yeah.
Big shout out to you. All right, but another question.
When you promote, or if you promote, will the reward overclocks and cosmetics always be for the class you promoted?
No, it will be, and we are not going to do that. It is going to be random, just like with everything else. Basically, again, we're trying to make a system that will encourage you to play all 4 dwarves. And Deep Rock Galactic is a bit special in that regard compared to other games. So we are just waiting for a question here.
Let's see. There's a lot. It's going very fast. Let me see. You had one here. Oh my God, the chat is completely out of control.
Okay, that's good. Keep firing.
That's fine.
Will the season pass be like the same old season pass format like other games, or will there be an interesting addition each and every update?
Please repeat that question. I'm not sure I understood it.
Let me see. Oh no, it's going away. Will the season pass be like the same old season pass format, or like other games, or will there be interesting additions in each and every update?
So it'll be. We'll continue to do as we do. I mean, we're not. Now we have found our formula, you can say. So the performance pass that comes in season 4 will have equal amounts of content and work exactly like the performance pass did in 1, 2, and 3.
So I mean,
if that answers the question.
No, let me elaborate a little bit more. So we have the season pass, and we have the season events and the season challenges. The season events is something that we need to create for every season.
Yeah.
And in the season events are gonna earn your script, and then you can take the script and spend them in the cosmetics. So you're also getting script from the whole progression in the season pass. So yes, there will always be a theme. There will always be a season pass. There will always be events as a bare minimum. And then, of course, we're also throwing in other stuff.
What is your favorite scrapped content that didn't make it into the game?
Wait, I once had a talk where I was asked to showcase what we had cut from Deep Rock Galactic, and I couldn't really find anything. And the only thing I found was actually the one of the flying monsters that were not dangerous.
I think we have.
It was out for a while and then got in again.
Yeah.
And so we have internally been telling ourselves that we have not cut anything, but that's not true. There is
not completely true, but I think the whole way that
stuff.
This is how, I mean, basically we are not planning so much ahead. Right now, again, we are planning for season 4, right? Or I mean, after season 3, we're planning for season 4 and planning the content that will go in there. And we don't have any idea about what is going into a season 5, right? That is something that will happen afterwards. And that means that we are always working on stuff that is on the way into the game. And that means, again, that we're not cutting very much work.
No. We have some things that are like put on hold maybe and need the right season to fit into.
Yeah.
I think it's maybe
but it is really not that much that we are cutting.
Will you add a feature like removing beer with Q or similar? That's for you, Mikkel.
Removing beer with Q.
Yeah, we
that's the
that.
whole thing. That's
another
another bug we fixed.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe that could be a solution. I need to talk with some of the designers on this thing.
Make sure we do it deliberately and not
Yeah.
by mistake. Yeah.
Have you ever considered comics like with lore and short stories?
So comics is also something that's dear to our hearts, right? And we would love to see some things with Deep Rock, but there is some inherent thing in the way Deep Rock is told, which is like there's no real story in Deep Rock. It's more like a recurring, almost sitcom kind of
But I
thing.
think if we saw like a cool concept for it, I think it would be super easy for us. We are not gonna be not right now, at least. We're not gonna be pushing a comic ourselves. But obviously, if there was a really, really amazing idea,
and we've seen, of course, many fantastic fan arts from you, and keep them coming. And so it's not hard to see Deep Rock being like envisioned in a comic.
But I think actually, I mean, I think that is one of the crazy things with you, the community, and the things that you are doing, because we were setting up these characters, and they are pretty bare bones in the sense that they are a driller, an engineer, a gunner, and a scout. But the way you play it, the way we have introduced the voice lines and so on, have just turned them into characters, right? And I mean, it's not something that we, for example, if you take the driller, right? I mean, the fact that the driller can throw a C4 and hurt the team, right? That suddenly turns into be reflected in his personality, right? And I think stuff like that is.
And of course, we play on this. Then when we write patch notes, we write the war crime thing in.
And then it just becomes the synergy.
And that's feeding off on you, and then we feed back in, and then it's grows, which we feel is amazing.
We can take another. Let's take a couple of questions more, and then maybe let's call it.
What drove the decision to not monetize the season pass?
So that was of course something we discussed how to do this, because everybody else were monetizing, and we ended up looking at it from a perspective of course, what will we present to the player, and we still wanted to link we're kind of monetizing it still, because we're linking the DLC inside.
But I think the reason why we introduced the season pass, I mean, I just went out through this before, right?
Yeah.
But the reason was not to make money. The reason was to actually solve how we were releasing our updates.
Yeah.
And I think that was our main purpose by doing it, right? To frame it, to generate content that was for everyone when we came out with an update. So, yeah.
So
I don't know.
And then when we looked at our version of it, it ended up like feeling right.
Yeah. So I hope that answers it. But
how long will DRG be supported?
Oh, that's a good question, and it's a good question. You're pushing the table because you're. It's a very good question, and it's a good question because when we started our adventure with Deep Rock Galactic 5 years ago, we were thinking that, well, maybe we are going to be supporting this game for 2 years. But now Søren has gone through all those curves where we have just been increasing our daily user base and users. And it has just been like, I mean, we can't stop now. We won't stop because we enjoy working on it. So it is definitely not in our plans in any way to stop working on Deep Rock Galactic.
No.
That is a journey that will just keep continue.
I think there's a really good chance that we've created what you could call an evergreen. That if we keep supporting this and you keep playing this, then why should it die anytime soon? Why shouldn't there be even more Deep Rock Galactic in 5 years from now? And we'll do our best to do our part. So now you do your part.
Keep playing.
Keep playing.
So yeah.
Are there any plans to add more beer to the game?
More beer? Yeah.
Confirmed.
Are there any plans to add stuff?
I'm gonna spoil this. We are actually working on a beer for season 4.
They got you.
You're cracking my Mikkel. Are there any plans to add content to the Steam Point store to buy for Steam points?
Oh, that's a good question. We looked at that back when it arrived, and we've been trying to figure out if it's actually like what's the value in it. I don't mean like for real money, but what's the actual value on this, and how many are engaging with it, and then we ended up not really taking the decision.
But I think the challenge here is that we are not engaging with it.
No.
So I think that is yeah, we need to understand it more. I think that is.
Yeah, but it's not out of the question. But we just have not returned to it.
No.
Steam is trying a lot of different things, right? There's a lot of different features on Steam, and it's up to each developer to figure out where to put their effort. Yeah.
Yes.
What about official VR support?
Yes, so there's the mod, as now we will call it official, because we've tried the mod and it's pretty amazing.
I mean, obviously it's just a mod. I mean, but I mean it was fully functional, and I think it was kind of an amazing experience. And I think Deep Rock Galactic I'm not sure it would. I mean, maybe it would work as a co-op experience, but definitely just playing it a single player going in a mission in VR was really cool. And the funny thing is that the game turned into almost like a horror game, I think, because you were walking way more slowly, and because suddenly like
the verticality
was something you really like felt. But I mean, there's a lot of cool stuff in that mod. Like you have your pickaxe, and you have like a utility belt where you have your stuff in, and you take your guns out and use them. And I mean, I'll throw flares, and I don't know, super cool.
But from then to actually have a real version of fully developed version of Deep Rock Galactic that actually does that officially with our like name on it. That's a pretty big step.
Yeah.
Also because we are not developers for VR, so we would need to partner up with somebody else, and we would need to have the bandwidth to take care of that the same way that we have done with the board game. And
but I think when we have done the board game, and I think that has been easy, right? Because it has been a project that we could set in motion. And then Mood Publishing have been able to just take that and run with it.
Yeah.
And we need someone who can take this and just own it.
Yeah.
Because we cannot handle it in-house. And the problem here is, I think, that if we do a VR, it will be very closely linked to Deep Rock Galactic. And that would mean that we would actually want to be more involved in it.
Yeah.
So in that regard, I think it is way more complicated.
So the answer is that there are no current plans on this. But as you can hear, we're not against the idea in the future. We think it could be a really special experience if done well. Yeah.
If you do remove the legacy launch option, would you consider putting it in the beta section afterwards?
I think it could. So let me just elaborate a little bit about why we are considering moving it again. The thing is, it is gonna be part of the game size. So when you download the anniversary build, it will be bigger because it has the legacy inside it in the anniversary update. And obviously, we are really happy that Deep Rock Galactic doesn't take that much space on your machines. So in that regard, that we could consider doing. But let's see how popular it is. Let's see how much it's played. Maybe we'll see an influx of players when it launches, and we'll have a lot of people playing it, and then it will maybe die out really quickly, and then that's it. I don't know. Somehow I still think it is really cool that if you come to a game and you love it, that you can actually go back to the roots and see where it all started. But these things are undecided yet. Just play it now, enjoy it for as long as it lasts, and then I don't know what's gonna happen on it with.
Is Deep Rock Galactic for Steam Deck going to be officially verified?
That is a tough one because we have actually been looking into it, and it turned out to be a huge task in terms of our menus.
Unfortunately,
Basically, it's font sizes that is the biggest challenge here, and we have not been setting this up
correctly.
in a smart way for
No.
Deep Rock Galactic. So it's not easy for us to scale fonts. It's not easy to.
No, and the thing is, we actually kind of started on this, and then it accidentally, or because it was so difficult, it got into the Steam version, and then of course you complained, and rightfully, because
made the game look ugly.
Make the game look different and ugly. So just keeping these apart is clearly very difficult for us, because we didn't, unfortunately, think this in when we built the game initially.
But I'm gonna say, if you know Deep Rock Galactic, right? I mean, you can totally play it. It's fully functional. There's nothing holding you back from playing it. We have Deep Rock Galactic out on consoles, so the controller is there, and you can go in, and I mean, everything is just working. So, I mean, from a gameplay perspective, there's no reason you shouldn't be able to enjoy Deep Rock Galactic on the Steam Deck.
I'm being very aggressively asked if there'll be a perk rework in the game.
Okay, so that is also something that we are discussing. We have the same desire. It's not gonna happen for season 4. I'm just gonna say that. But it is definitely something we want to do. We also have some ideas for new perks, but I think when we do it, when we start touching perks, we want to be able to do more than just like adding to the system that we already have. And that turns it into a bigger task. And that's why I'm so clearly can say no now. It is kind of funny, because when we introduced the whole perk system, we were worried that people would not be able to complete all the milestones and get all the perks. So we put in a surplus of points there. But oh boy, I mean, as we have been going, right, I mean, obviously we have been adding more milestones as new biomes were introduced, or new missions or whatnot, right, which has just been like piling onto the pile of perk points that you can gather. So obviously, if you have played the game, basically I think when we got the game out on PlayStation, I started playing it, and I think it took me around 80 hours to collect perk points enough to buy everything. 80 or 100 hours or something like that, right? And after that, you just continue to pile up perk points. And I think actually the tempo that you are receiving perk points, and I mean, that is fine. But I wish there was like higher tiers or something like that, where you could actually like spend your points.
Yeah.
But this is what happens when you're running a game live, and you're just building on a system, and it just
we're not
keeps
talking
growing.
about error cubes.
No, that's another. No, we're just not talking about error cubes.
Update on future merchandise for Deep Rock Galactic, and what about mugs?
Yeah, so we actually kind of owe you an information on this, because unfortunately the whole setup we had with For Fans by Fans in the US it has almost ended. You can say I think still the golden loot bug is available, but it has dwindled down to almost nothing. And on top of that, we also know that knew that it wasn't a totally fulfilling setup we had, because people from outside of US had a hard time ordering it without getting a really high cost on transport. Yeah. So we are now looking into new solutions on this. It's not easy, and we will find solutions, but I cannot say anything about how fast or when. That's the short of it. We really want some more Deep Rock Galactic merchandise. The game and you and we deserve it. We want it as well.
I think that is a bigger part of this.
Yeah. So there will be more in the future, but unfortunately, right now we're in a drought.
Yeah. So maybe we should. There's one more question. Then we take the last question.
Deep Rock Galactic has a strong community of dedicated players who often collaborate on mods and other community-driven projects. How does the team interact with the community, and what role do player suggestions and feedback play in the development process?
Yeah, so we are asked this quite a lot actually by other developers, also now in our new role as publishers. And one of the, I think, things that we did really early on was that we allowed and encouraged everyone on the team to actually engage with the community, and without having like a big list of things that you can't say, or without having to constantly check if they could phrase it this or that way. So we just put a lot of trust in our development team, and that helps. But still, now the game is really big. The community is like we have one of the 10 most active Discord servers in the world. So now we're also relying on you and the community, because what happens now is that we have all of you that are closer to the development team actually acting as our like extra hands and the next circle of contacts out into the community. So I see this kind of as a circle of circles that just spread out.
Yeah.
And it just not come from one person, even though Jacob is of course our very fantastic representative in many ways. We still have a lot of us in here that are on a daily basis are talking to a select group of you, and then it spreads on.
But it's also like, I mean, sometimes, I don't know, a programmer or someone just are reading a Reddit thread or something like that and say, hey, oh, this idea could be cooler, and then they share it on our Slack channel, and then we talk about, hey, should we do this or not?
Yeah.
So it is also very just happening, right? Or very organically, I think.
Yeah.
And I think, again, the whole fact that we are not planning that far ahead makes it way easier for us to also engage with you guys.
Yeah, and actually embrace these
because as
changes.
you can say with the roadmap right now, there's stuff that we are not ready to talk with you about yet. But it's also because there's a lot of stuff we don't know ourselves yet. So that makes it really challenging for us to develop these things while we don't have any idea about, or I'm not going to say any idea about what we're doing, because obviously we do have an idea about what we're doing, but we are not 100% set on what we're doing.